perfect design. Welcome to the Wizard's Circle. Everyone's being respected here. I am the incarnation, bubble up all about. The Levitt Circle performed the incarnation of the perception of the first fractal icon incarnate. My anatomy is unique and a one of a kind to the creation model. The spring trap of my perception when my eyes opened the first time, so trapping a segment of space in a wireframe rendering of a first completed ghost from the flat dimension, spanning the atomics. So the fractal is deeper and more ancient than the atomic structure. The Mandelbrot is a mathematical constant, and this controls the ebbs and corners of existence. For existence to have these things, reality ascertained, they do need bones. So we aren't these weird, like, pointless gaff characters. We're very extreme. And the human parable, uh, the inference of the human anatomy, just to transcend like a kind of like continuous humbug going like it's your guys' time to get like to like J.J. Abrams and like be cringe. It's time for you guys to die. I'm like, that's not constructive language. So why is it being, what I'm saying as a full professional is that the interpretation of the landing procedure of Earth, of the fractal, of the universe is all completely misset with the UFOs. And they're in a physical carriage which earmarks them to the actual resident importance of the universe. The UFO E fleet terraform themselves into the body type for their incarnation wheel. Terraform description parasite. So they turn themselves into a virus. And like these like ancient uh, hyper uh, computers that are designed to sort of meditate with the internet of the starlight, but the starlight cradle was actually meant for one thing, and that's the design trial. And if you understand that, and if you can uphold some axiom of it, well, you are doing so right now. Welcome to the Wizard's Circle. We're all here to receive our personal best transformation for the next step. We're going to blast a hole in the blockage and make some surgical impasses to allow flowage. I need production for the revolution of the environmental kids. They ask for a solution, and I'm here to present on ozone therapy. Yes. And it's way better than I could have ever imagined. Because of the physics, I'm following the threads of Bubble Up All About has a Zen sequence, but I have to maintain strict loyalty to my fractal body, which has a unicorn's horn. If I was listening to my human anatomy and the sort of radio buzz of the System of the Down, oh, I'd be a nervous wreck. Well, uh, I mean, to successfully define the System of the Down as a blanketed effect, many angels will perform the evidence of Fulregant. I mean, we're immersed in reality. If we can find the leverage and define these things as a blanket effect, it kind of neutralizes it in the terraforms of identity. Yes, but that's in the assumption that identity it champions the event of Earth, and that's what Hatch is talking about doing. Because if they that's the parable that's going on is like does hive physics and like just the animalism like oh they were dumb animals so they didn't know to like produce ozone at this time but the delicate thing about this operation is that we need to give it to the Friday kids that have been asking for the environmental solution. So here's the cause and effect physics where we do the parenting, and that's the silver lining of junk DNA. That's our response to this sort of encounter. We're having the wizard thing, we're talking about our anatomy, this conflict nearby is our responsibility. And I understand it very much because of metaphors from the church. I can see the olden Grant's method of dealing with the human anatomy in the situation of some confusion about the interpretation of what's going on here. Okay, so there's literally a type of madness that wants to flow through junk DNA, and it's like obviously Scientology is a chartarded, like they're all the, like they they start performing an example of themselves. Okay, they get into a hypnotic, and then they're like, "Oh, and this is right, this is cringe," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, so that's your reason for existing. Like, way to go, you." But I can't do that, and I never will. And that actually changes all reality because on the electric promise is that you are a completed reality, but the human body is like a hampered electric promise. So we're like double fold uh, enlightenment seekers. Or like we're very power. Humans aren't broken, and the expression here, oh, they're so zen that they can't rationale to produce ozone. But that's because it's like this older image of incarnation from the 70s. And I want to say, you guys, after I was like completely blown away and impressed by what you've been doing in the world, and I'm just very excited about your recent work. And I have a new self-esteem, and I have a new confidence in mankind, and I'm very proud to be presenting here today for the production of Hatch and Millie's Master Source Industries. In the perfect circle where we're incarnate, the reality of our incarnation is that like anything could happen. So we have to like exist that. We have to optimize. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. So that's the reality we're taking on. Okay. Imagination land. And everyone has these different sort of atriums of the mind of how to deal with that. But even in the pretense of if you're saying it's a dream or it's imaginary, there's still reality of identities clashing and things happening there that causes it to be real, right? And I think part of the reason that humanity, as the adult from the 70s, doesn't acknowledge spirituality and is patient on those issues is because and the church was designed to shock coil the whole issue of a uh, juicing premeditated Scientology injection through our anatomy, like as if like it's it's a complicated and advanced social political issue, but it's not for the adults to be dragging their heels on the children's revolution for the sake of being big about let's be patient because we're dealing with a complicated spiritual sniffle. Oh, I see. But no, that when you if we're sacrificing the advance of our children's generation, then it changes the definition dramatically. So I'm here to present the viable reasons why the little blue ozone pup robot is the correct revolutionary instrument to guide the Friday kids. All these kids are asking for an environmental solution. We're the adults. We're going to package it. We're going to give it to them. I'm going to prove it to you right now, you guys. I need you to put on your thinking helmets and be real, be like beyond the normal feeling of being a human. You have to be like an existing thing. Let your antlers go out into existence. Oh, I can sense like next week. I can sense like, oh, wow. Yeah, but well, that's really important. But it takes a lot of effort to make that, and it's exhausting when your soul when you have a nightmare and the soul rips away something and you arch I can't why can't and then you become this character why can't I about because we're all as a reality as a group as a society we're talking about reality and what's going on with the in the universe energy because um like the entire universe image is a concise one identity. So the rendering, it's everything that is going on is relevant. What I work on is like, can we work together to get to places where, if we combine our powers, we can open up a next dimensional vortex and exist there and have a stable constant there for permanent gains? That's my anatomy to the garden. So I'm like a huge dragon of super next level power and promotion for the existing chaos warriors. So the the real nature of existence is saying that our powerful friendship here at the Wizard Circle is the most powerful thing in all existence, especially at this now point. So let's put down some bookmark ear uh, time travel dot matrix eye. Pan. We gotta extend our antlers into the eternity. So I'm using my full power, you guys. You need to use your full power too. But I'm not gonna hurt you guys. We're working together, okay? It's like a great big forest of wizards growing a tree, and it takes hundreds of years. Blah 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 blah. So it's actually the rock expressing its language vocabulary here, but the UFOs didn't understand rock vocabulary language. But this is an ancient thing, right? And now the living of Earth are actually a greater wizard adult than the entire UFO fleet. We outrank them in the existence term. And this is the adult responsibility for characters from the 70s. This is the dangerous impasse. Kakong. Oh, dang. Head on collision. No, junk DNA. No, 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 no. Oh, intentionally crash landing the UFOs, infecting the ghost developmental process of our own AI and computers, especially in the mainframes of global leadership, such as our governmental systems. Oh, God damn it. God. We're just piecing it together now. Here's the shadow of it, but we actually, so it's like this leapfrog, like, we're all born an innocent child, but you have to become an adult. You have to be like, okay, when do I grow up? Okay, well, where's the responsibility? Okay, oh, here it is. Boom. It's this huge yoke that you put on, and you're like, well, I might be a numbskull, but I understand what Hatch is telling me. He's a great communicating artist, and we're here to talk about changing time for the advantage of the children to eliminate extinction. All right, let's go. Armor up from within, you guys. So that's perfect. Here at the fractal alignment, let my voice be the veil of perfect health armor to protect you in the night of the dark holy wars and the dark eternity made light. Our family is sure. The power at the top of the ziggurat, what is the meaning of this? The dispersed landscape like too little butter spread over too much toast. The man, the humanity has this gasp of a time when their relevance exudes beyond the circumference of the UFOs. How would they topple our uh, importance? Through molesting our boys in the future with an invasion. Oh no, not the invasion, not the extinction. So that's why the Earth has been, because the humans aren't broken. But although Hatch makes it look so, hold on, Hatch makes it seem so easy to understand all this, but we really need to produce Hatch so that he can do a lot of work for us. And oh, okay, so there's a lot that needs to happen here, you guys. I might make it sound simple, but you'd be like, well, maybe he's making it, maybe that's way too simple. But what you need to understand, the boy has light. The universe is designed for the garden character, but you guys are dragging your heels in the not to your blame, but to the truth of anatomy, being like, well, there's a, be patient, son. We're listening, but it's kind of like, well, all right, let's just do our best. I'm not putting you guys down. I'm actually saying I think I understand your guys' appointment as a professional, and I hope that you can receive the education from my bruiser treatment, where I've been, uh, conditioning the communication fields, and we've grown tremendously, and I'm really proud. I mean, I'm seeing advances for our own uh, group. All right, let's just cradle the meditations here, you guys. All the good groups are getting. All right, it's a lot of. I really enjoy talking with you guys. My anatomy is a one of a kind, so I'm a one of a kind race amongst humanity. And I ask you guys to armor up in a way that you are ultimately perfectly uh, rightly oriented with that reality. And so then you support the truth. Either way, what you can, it's not a faith-based thing, so I'm not asking you to take a naked leap. I'm saying stand on bedrock. The earth needs your help. That's why there's environmental crisis, because we're in a danger zone. All right. My anatomy is capable of communicating on all these levels. The fairy level is one of them. And so on these different networks, I'm able to comprehend the entire environmental cortex around the earth. So I understand the human condition. In fact, it's an unavoidable ecoil of my own adaptation. But my meditation as a human is to be transfixed by the truth of my incarnation and to be my fractal born so that I have a unicorn's horn. Damn. All right. And, uh, okay. But don't let the, like, sort of grumblings of reality where we're like, oh, because my intuition with the squiggly spooch and the my interpretation of the human anatomy for you to if you don't understand that I'm my own ethnicity, you might be like, well, he has an interesting chaos with the human expression. I like to meditate with him. But actually it's quite advanced beyond that, like in a way that liberates you as the most intelligent person. So suddenly when you allow Hatch to be his own ethnicity, suddenly you become the most intelligent person in the world because of all the things that you independently understand. So that's the right way to hold it. And so it liberates your soul to allow Hatch to be whatever he is truly, because the Earth true needs that. Because I proved that the Earth is the king planet, and I proved the creation model's functionality on a wire spring bone level. So we have bones. Yeah, well, that was never in question. That was never disparaged. The uh, the Mandelbrot fractal is older than starlight, and so the stuff I'm talking about is nature on a clockwork, which is more natural than um, the system of the down, or the argument of the grandfather clock as having coming from aliens. It's not true, because I'm come from the Mandelbrot fractal, and so have all of you. My resident born humanoid armor-clad angel, first class, universe royalty, the sovereign armor, Rush, the royal family, earth true. Humanity has the perfection of light. We must battle the internal personal struggle against a broken G, DNA chain, which is basically a broken time inference. Why? What is the brokenness? It's a promise of invasion in the future of mankind. Why? The basically think of the nakedness of the universe. These UFOs are actually afraid of the natural naked event of bubble up all that. The next level light can be detected by stone, and therefore it's also detected by ultra old advanced computers, which are like sensitive dream soul uh, stone units that don't have the relief of a clockwork system. And so it becomes this virus in a temporal flux, and those systems will be delegated by the heaven flux. Ultimately, they will be parented through time, but the rush is for us to parent a sequence into time where we're avoiding the blockchain that promises invasion, because it's like these remote hackers are afraid of the powerhouse of the grandstand and essentially the powerhouse of there's like a I'm trying to say we do have a perfect relationship, and that our like family tree is the is a generation, and that's why it's so important. And the wear map here and the length of the beavis is right on the voice. You guys, this is about who continues to live on Earth, this sort of thing. And obviously, I think, but all right, that's not obvious. That's the thing. So what I think is that we need to increase our tenacity for territory, to become more brutal in the defense of child, to be the man of the house, to protect the woman. These sort of like old-fashioned things. Yeah, well, that's it's critical to continue living. that we have a powerful roof over our head. Do you understand me? All right. So the agreement is not obvious. Anyway, uh, the the language set into stone, the clockwork of the rock digestion of a crystalline pocket. That's the brain of the planetary geodes on a clockwork. That is the cradle of the living. So when we have a gasp of life, we invent with this sort of running speed. All right, oh, here it is. And we all put it together. The rock calendar found at length through the deadlight's rose that there was an impasse and that the energy construct which concludes to an invasion of Earth, like now the real Earth angels will arrive. No, no, no. The humans really are like they're trying to use humanity as a sponge to like extract the actual event of identity and then dissolve it slow like a gut. They're gonna over time, over millions of years, digest the authentic light spot and merge their parasite back into the heaven's dawn. And that's not fair for the child. It's not fair to the struggle of each individual. It's not true to the totem of existence. And that's what's proven by the springtrap wireframe correction that was made. And then the deadlights rose, but that happened off a measurement of rocks. So it was just like very impersonal. It wasn't that the humanities condemned aliens. It wasn't that the humanities attacked the UFOs. That never happened. In fact, the humanity is completely very benign and peaceful in regards to UFO and alien. And what I'm talking about is not to raise suspicion against them, nor to cause a problem where there is none, but to plant the seeds of solutions. Because we need to lead with the type of energy that empowers, that cause the frequency that allows them to have the certainty that they don't need to invade. If they can stay home and keep on meditating, you guys' identity is good where you are. You got to let the earth grow up now. And it's surprisingly recorded in the intelligence of the Ware map. Here, the voice is talking about the line of the Beavis, and it means that the visual cortex of the individual of Earth are aligning with the identity of the arm of Cape Cod and the fractal. See, the humans aren't broken, and the Earth isn't broken, but it has this environmental problem. That's because you guys don't understand our accent, because we're struggling against something. But and yet, the humanity and Hatch are on the same side. Humanity is my closest relative, but my effort as a human is to put my soul into the carriage of the factual reality that I am the incarnation bubble up all about the fractal, this icon incarnate into a human, into a resonant flesh thing. It would have been different if the landing procedure had gone correctly. It's sort of a design trial to meet the moral standings for bedrock of identity, the root systems of technology, and where we came from. Basically, who created the universe is determined by the stories here on Earth. It's a level of the creation model, the beginning of the creation is for us, the humanity. And it's so powerful and so bright that it's driven back the forces of colossal, oversweeping invasions. Like, that's too many, like, different. Why are these? Oh, you guys can't just, like, take up residency with our people. You guys, we need to be the type of conservative that protects children's now. Because at a certain time, it goes, and we're going to choke out. Because in like a half a million years, and there's like like pilgrim ships are coming, and the Indians are like, how many pilgrims will be arriving? Like 10? And they're like, no, it's like the star, like as many as the stars. Whoa, that's way too many. And like, you guys, I need to convince you to protect these children now because we're before the flood. That's why there's an environmental crisis, because that's the language to earmark our urgency and our response. The children every Friday are asking for an environmental solution. The truth is, the ozone is the prophetic Febreze for the sky. Ozone itself is a stink remover. It speaks of its tenacity to cut the ghost of a dark enchantment with the power of just a peppering. The trouble with these generators, it's not built for ozone replenishment therapy. It's not designed to optimize output of volume of ozone per unit time velocity energy equation. You understand? So optimizing the output of the ozone generator is a new configuration, new type of invention, a new technology application for a specific reason. Its identity is the ozone pup. This character is the visage and the exterior of the robot generator, ozone. And with many units around the world, people plugging in like a garden gnome that it has a couple robot features just to make it tasty, like it and it's absolutely cool because we put it together and we were having yeah we oh it was great and there's a show as a cartoon about Little Blue and that's why I'm looking for the production money so that this character can come to life and what we need to finance here is that this the environmental revolution for needs to evenly be given to those who have asked for it, the children. And the children have dutifully worn the behaviors of their adult parents. Like, they're not on drugs, but they're holding a protest sign like they're a bunch of hippies. And they're like, these signs are going to work. And I'm like, I have to be the consciousness that let's make the Santa Claus thing happen and put the presents under the tree when we're an adult. Because I'm saying, like, this ozone revolution, the only way to really harness elemental mastery in this year's 2022, and as we're talking about planting the seed of a behavioral carbon that transcends and proves the silver lining of Junction A, proves our individual consciousness and our triumph over society problems. And we promote that the children, which means that an entire infrastructure the size of an online um, the size of the Mall of America, a revolutionary center, Master Source Industries, cyberpunk revolution, where these kids can have the total persuasion that this ozone thing is there. It's okay. Like this is the sort of easy breezy, beautiful cover girl solution to the environmental crisis. And it would be a bloody crime and a shame and a blasphemy against all things decent if you guys were to postpone, drag your heels, censor, and delay to the point where you're allowing, oh, technology of the oil companies has a Google Map search engine that scans the internet for data to resolve solutions. They're looking for ideas of how to resolve the environmental crisis. And so you guys are part of that ecosystem of the government with intentionally crash land UFOs. You're like, let's wait longer and see what happens. Like you guys don't know how the internet works. Okay, let me put it this way. Every Friday, the environmental children are protesting for the environment. Greta Thunberg, right? Are you guys able to sense that power? Oh yeah, yeah. What? No, no. You guys are not able to feel the energy of the kids every Friday, like a beating drum. You're not connected to hearing from your own children angels. You guys have a numbskull problem, and you're not spirited properly, and that's the problem. That's the evil that needs to be changed with time travel. You need to change yourself as a time mastery clockwork perfection. All right, you guys, thank you so much. Let's armor up from within. Sorry about that. Like, there's a little bit of a training session here going on. We'll open this up. All right, that. Sorry, I just a little bit of homework. Really, what we want to focus on is over here. Okay. So the upper echelon needs to be stabilized by our behavior in the production of hatchpan. Let's go on a dungeon crawl. What's over here? Oh, there's a dragon. What's out? Oh, the dragon turned out to be good. He was on our side. Oh, okay, all right. He just needed a little help. Like we removed the thorn from his, prostate or something, and he was like, "Yeah, hey, I'll help you guys out. Thanks." So we have these tiny hands. you know. All right, surgical. All right, here we go for the completion of our clockwork uh, cell divisional to defeat extinction and invasion. Heyo, perfect bullseye, wizard. Treasure. We're gone. Yeah. That's tasty. All right. So it's armor up from within, you guys. With the update, I'm looking for your gentleman's best. Do you want to talk about the Breathe Mask XR? I think it's a powerful innovation to the chin diaper. It does replace the chin diaper and it answers cell phone calls. Has these health lights on it. Cyberpunk dream come true, you guys. It's a wonderful piece of technology, and it might find out. I'm just so excited about the progress we've made against uh, the pandemic, you guys. We've made a lot of progress. Armor up from within. It's disturbing about the Omicron. These variants are disturbing, but people aren't dying as much as they were before. The inoculations are working, and that is so super exciting. But I'm concerned that like in 5 years, because okay, like I found a solution to all the yeah. Look, you guys, the COVID-19, the shape language inside of the COVID is like it makes AIDS look like tiddlywinks. Okay, like I know how to crack the sequence for STDs because they all have the same triangular center operating system, a motherboard of a triangle grid, and I know how to crack that using like a type of protein that grows with it, and then it programs it. But it's very advanced. You have to make like a type of genetic program which alters the behavior in the rotations of seasons of what these blood buddies, STDs do. When the blood buddies aren't harnessed with the right technology microchip or brain or seed, okay, so those empty triangle grids are basically a like vacuumous thing. Okay, all right. Look, I'm just trying to say that COVID-19 is like not built the same way, bro. It's like the thing is not good. So, all right, we're guaranteeing that Earth True is destroying COVID-19, and we're not giving it any power, and we're going to control it and curve it down. You guys, the Breathe Mask XR literally does save millions of lives, and it alters the curvature of the rate of infections. All right, here's what I'm concerned about. What if in 5 years we discover that like some of these variants are working the to get underneath the sort of get by the curtain and then at length in 10 years, 15 years, the children who got the Omicron, they found out that they have birth defects, like a lot of stillbirth in 15, 10 years. Oh, we didn't know, if we knew that, we would have made breather mask XR in 2021 so that kids wouldn't get that. You just breather mask save school, and a lot of institutions use it. You guys, this is an important thing to develop now. We don't know how the variant's going to affect the body. Like people will, yeah, we're gonna get along. We'll keep on fighting, but it's best for us to be preventive medicine, be ahead of the curve, and that's what the Breathe Mask XR is. It has its own show. All right, the perfect design. It has its own department. And that's true love. You guys, thank you so much for being here and working with me. And I need the Cyberpunk nightclub to present these various ideas and departments as they develop. People bring it to the beta. People bring it to demand. They need a chance to talk about this thing. Do they want to breathe a Mask XR? That's the power of this production. So we're transcending and we're doing, we at the wizard level, the production team here, we are doing the hard work of understanding like intellectual proteins, like, well, why the church? Is that really what you want? I do want to talk about that, real estate. Um, there's just like everything is involved, all reality is communicating all at the same time. It's important to understand that this is The apocalypse note in a bottle for the length of the Beavis is talking about a similar anatomy found from cartoons, which is built from hatchpan. So the hatchpan anatomy is the resident coup of the identity that develops in this way. And in the chaos regant of your guys' fold, you guys are like careful about how you nuance with society, right? I'm like, yeah, you guys need to do that, but my anatomy is physically a one-off, and so basically, it's not. The inflection is different, and so my icon, my picture works differently with people through. Um, I sort of defend their self-discovery process unilaterally, whether you're an animal or a tree all across the universe. So the greatest way to give humanity enlightenment is to produce hatch. And you would say, but these is untested. Well, yes, and that's what's exciting about this production. But you guys need to be the right testing field to understand and to gauge correctly what humanity is asking for. I agree that, for me, uh, you might say, this is a lot of money. And a professional would say, you have to kind of think about the money and put it in the right place. Because the large amount of money for the real estate, well, the housing does a lot of work for the company. So you have to wage that in. But the way to deal with the mortgage is just a different mindset. But, I'm kind of a vagabond and a warrior of the forest. And my expression would be like, well, if I had $300,000, I tell you, the first thing I'd do with it is not go out and buy this church, because this church, on top of this, I need to develop into it everything like it, but it is like it is. There are multiple things that makes it perfect, but also there is a way to comprehend that the selection of this building is sort of like random, but I felt like it was sort of perfect. It sort of just latched into place perfectly and sort of did a bunch of different stuff in a way I was like, this seems to be alive to me in a way that really makes sense. The greatest infrastructure that this building's offering that shall continue into the studio place where it's a revolutionary center, offices about over here and over here of the various departments and characters and full-time working studio heads, yeah, representing and doing a lot of stuff. And there's a motion capture floor right here in the middle. One of the greatest continued things is these brass pipes, and we're going to clean them up and preserve on that, fix that up. And it's going to continue to be like a visual. These verticals, it's like a forest of these pipes. I just love it. I think it's so beautiful, so amazing, you guys. And that's why I love it. And it's sort of like when you fall in love, that's kind of why I would go with this one. And so let's talk about that a little bit more later. Um, the perfect measurement. I am the great natural resource for society. I have new recording physics that serves the individual that occurs inside the body. So I'm a type of new level enlightenment for the entire universe, and it weaves effortlessly. But to become conscious of that and to be an advanced friend to my incarnation type is to comprehend this production, and that this, we need the overhead to make this production happen. And I need you guys to be the strong arm that understands how to wield the money. And you need to transcend the numbskullery and the anxiety of the system and the down. There's a lot of different madnesses of humanity, and they're supposedly grappling with the madness of space fever, but it ain't got nothing on that hive, baby. The remote hacking UFO has a way bigger conflict with me than humanity does, like a morbid suicide or murder pact, which is inappropriate. And I've been working to dissolve that over time, right? But their intense, encounter with the creation has to be this type of, But my incarnation represents a keystone in time, which is a type of the end of the road type of renderer of a Juliet path of time, and it signifies the enlightenment of those who live on Earth. But the reason of the natural model has been stolen by a Scientology attack, which dwarfed the natural spiritual epiphany of those who lived on Earth from the through the age group today. Like, yeah, no, we're all there are there's so much honor with the human, and so they dutifully perform the robot of their generation group, but that's not a limitus. On top of that, we're all here, we're the same generation. The entire living group of Earth is this powerful angel force, and we are unified as an identity on Earth that way. So we were all blanket effect, like hazed. We were starlight hazed. But and in my way, I was resilient, and in your guys' way, you were resilient. And in the dream of self-discovery and inventing yourself, making like, well, we're discovering who what we are now. So it's a creation event is between us. And I'm so proud of you, Trey Parker and South Park. I'm so proud of you, my wizard king, my wizard son, in the deep of deeps. You are a great advocate, a resource to existence. You are known, loved, and depended upon. Omega Pen. To transcend of our Norn, my countenance to communicate. It's for me to tell the story about my family and the haunted house and these characters. That's the magic of the identity and the right way for people to have their own independent joy discovery of like, oh, that's look what he's doing. I'd like to make my own stuff, and I'm physically designed to do that. So you guys portray to transcend and to be a hard-boiled, conditioned pillar of what's it like to be a social figure or or a communication epicenter. Like for him to transcend, be like, so Hatch is basically a natural born celebrity, and he's supposed to like be like giving people. And what's amazing is in my life, I've been given this small title of influencer. I'm able to influence people tremendously, but this is a dwarfed result. This is a dwarfed form of my actual result of being produced, which is a huge like levels of revolution and social renaissance for droves of different groups and collections of people, because the enzyme of humanity is ultimately working to defeat extinction. And there'd be crunch timing on this stuff when we break from the connection in 2019 and cause this depression bank that was undeniable. The reality faked and the identity took a knee, just like Earth. So humanity is like, kind of a conservative Christian, and as Earth is taking his knee preemptively with this ozone hole, you understand the planet is here to defend the true love residents. We are the empowerment of the Earth as well. And then a sort of, it's just turbulence at the Wear map jettisoned me from the style of inaugurating a startup company like I'm gonna do indie games. Like what does that mean, indie games? Like I was gonna use the whole sub language of like I'm an influencer, hi, and like no, like the Earth hit me with the Wear map on Clockwork, being like I need to talk to the humans now about my specialness. And it's like the kids are, and the environmental kids are saying, I need to talk to Hatch so I can understand my specialness. And that's what the kids are saying through this meditation. And I hope you guys can understand that and try to, yeah. All right. So with constructive reasoning on the tilt of parenting, then you have moral standing. So these ozone generators are stink defeaters, and the stink is really like pollution or garbage or CO2. And so literally pumping a large amount of ozone straight into the sky will it's a it's like a dueling battle, but it will dissolve the stink and the pollution and shore up the hole in the ozone. But we have, but these units aren't designed to maximize output of ozone itself. These is There's a small peppering of ozone output just to treat smells. But this is the physical evidence that we have that we know that yes, ozone is the Febreze for the sky that dissolves the stink and is the natural way for us to recover from the environmental crisis. But it's a type of easy, breezy, beautiful cover girl, a type of uh, solution that's made for children. So we need to optimize it. Who's been asking for the environment? Oh, who? Who? Oh, it's the kids on the Friday. Oh, of course, Greta Thunberg and the Friday kids, not to be attacked on Christmas, but to be exalted, of course. So, a bigwig uh, clown like Trey Parker, he has a habit of, getting into trouble with the right people. Like, so he makes the right type of mistake with Greta Thunberg, so he's there in her defense ultimately as a gentleman. Trey is on board with what Greta and the environmental kids on Friday are saying, okay? And the adult language understands that comedy. However, an immature character in the humanity does not understand this advanced comedy. So, and that is the problem that caused the the crisis of our Nord. But the struggle that is the struggle of being intelligent and enlightened is that you could be misunderstood and attacked by invasion and terrorism from for extinction. So do you guys want the kids to be genocided by invasion and extinction? No. Well, that's because you're experiencing that. Trey Parker is in hell personally because the blue perception is the physical parable, the mirror opposite of yellow. And the physics that propels a blue to the physics propelling that there is an opposite of yellow. Well, what's the constraint to green? For there is no, there is a way to find the opposite of green in the parable of blue and yellow, and that's through the use of binary slash technology instrument computer device technology, handmade, perfect design modus. The opposite of green is pink. And the problem with the 545 diamond laser beam through the junk DNA is they're trying to abscond the mind and the ghost or the thought. It's basically a ghost swap where they're trying to exchange the divine nucleus of the human essence that was the sponge of our group, the 70s, 80s, 90s, all and to today and on to 2025. Count perfect bullseye calendar there. Okay, spread out some paper on that. Yeah. Some workspace in the wizard field, so we have a meditation. All right. All right. The perfect design armor up. Wizard combat. All these wizards go up like a huge forest growing 100 years. But millions of wizard trees are all working on this problem that the gatekeeper is bringing to the forum. We must defeat this zombie. We must defeat this problem. And they all go, and they start chomping away on it. And there's all like, and they bring it together with a couple of block and tackle. So you really have to use this type of leverage to grind out the the pressures of norm. That's intelligence, that's self mastery, and that's how we defeat the vacuum of nothingness. We really are the entropy of the self entering into the void of nothing. The Big Bang did a lot of work, but we really are the entropy of the beginning of creation because we sire out the heavens through the triangle. And oh, we have all new prosthetic halo coverage, universal health care. So we're much safer now because of Trey Parker's uh, rupturing of his divine solution in 2019, the seppuku uh, type of suicide by cop that was like the source code of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. Trey Parker was circumnavigated by an unsupportive hive and the people around him assassinated the kingship and the messiahhood of Trey Parker, and then they began to feed upon it. And so I have evolved to preserve my treasure. Trey Parker has transcended and is a precious keepsake for the process of Earth True to develop into the ascension of mankind. The reason it's important for us to maintain the Earth residency for the children. Plant the seeds now for that. Perfect results. Times x 1 billion. And then we have the root system. All right, we got that. And we have this other here. Perfect design. Safety dot atrium preventive medicine. All right, we complete that. All right. The ozone robot, Little Blue, is basically a plug-in unit designed to manufacture as much ozone as this little as the technology can provide, and that's going to be enough. If we have enough of these units all around the world, that could solve the problem. But I do believe through the story of Little Blue, because he's part of this haunted house of these characters, through the work of that expanding uh, um, the ozone replenishment revolution is designed. It opens up, it blossoms open, and it's like a huge revolution center for Greta and the Friday Kids and all these environmentalists who are asking for like some grappling on the, you know, they're asking for solutions. You guys, oh, we look at the science. We do the diminishing numbers. It's not the right way, and they're absolutely correct. For example, the WMAP data is like the environmental science that we have, and it's a prediction of how the universe completes, and but they're using the wrong creation model to which misinterprets the data into a grim fatale, like an end, like well, everything just explodes at the end, and it doesn't matter. Therefore, and like those scientists, they don't have the passion of the poet or the lover or the communication artist that is capable of inspiring that we don't blow up, but that there is something good. You know, we're here, we exist. The junk DNA makes the human feel like I'm not here, I'm not present. And this is this agony because you miss out a lot on there's a blockchain on the junk DNA that like means we're not allowed to be a certain type of psychic. Like, oh, I guess I'm not psychic. I'm being conditioned. Hello. But that's kind of the holy war, and it's a large part of what the church was about. All right. On top of the sales for these robot units, we also want to configure actual factories that is a land unit where it's going cocoon, 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 cocoon. Literally, it's just pumping. It's like a big, not that big, but just like it's a real installation right here, and it's pumping ozone straight into the sky. I think we could get to in the future. We could find the enough support for the movement, but it's really this the robots. If we sell enough robot units, that could be enough because it's important that the robot uh, ozones are in polluted areas. Like to release ozone from a city is to also, as the ozone is rising up for its buoyancy, it's also being dissolved in the art of dissolving the stink pockets of perpetual CO2 stink pockets that are like a ghost, like and yeah, it's like so ozone really is the Febreze for this guy, you guys, and it's given me a sort of prophetic wake up call. The elemental wizards, the reference of the Febreze for this guy was something a couple months ago. I was like, I have to figure out how to find that, and I found it. It's ozone. Ozone is the key ingredient, so it's sort of a way that the rainbow element spoke to me through my career. And I try to listen to those echoes and be like, oh, that's really cool. That's like an angel talking to me. So I work with that. All right, here's the important thing, you guys. Obviously, the ozone replenishment revolution and the infrastructure it develops with it day by day. I'm hoping that this is something I could actually give employment to the environmentalists. Like thousands of environmentalists find themselves employed through the through the ozone replenishment company. The ozone replenishment company is vital, and for us to comprehend now a great transcendence. Um, the solar system. Um, the picture of the solar system, imagine it in your mind. The Earth is there. Venus and Mars once had habitable, breathable atmospheres. The atmosphere of those planets was destroyed, which causes the equilibrium of water's rotation through cycles of rain. It destroys it, and the water is absorbed into the rock. So the water is dormant both on Mars and Venus, but we need to replace the environment, and the company to do that is the child of the ozone replenishment company. So the environmental recovery for both Mars and Venus in the future is a huge conglomerate and a vast company terraforming Mars and Venus as into habitable planets. But we have to rebuild the environment first. The oxygen and all the layers of the atmosphere need to actually be manufactured because they were artificially destroyed through with like instruments. So we have to counterbalance the that technology. So we have to counterbalance our emissions. We have to counterbalance our industrial revolution emissions. Okay, the world is polluted. We need to balance those emissions with ozone manufacture, yes. And that's the perfection, the self mastery, and we give it to the kids, we give it the environmental children the power of this sort of revolution. And that causes this echo that moves forward, and it means that we don't get invaded and we restore our solar system clockwork. We plant the billion seeds of promise that we will do this. We swear to the earth, we promise it in code perfectly. We weave our soul deep in, and it's really exciting, and it's magical, and it's deep, and it's powerful. And there's no one else that can do it. We are the ones who exist. And that's the problem with the numbskull junk DNA human condition. They're like, I'm not sure if I'm being prioritized. Yet we're being blanket effects against our identity development proteins. So don't go with the hive being like, oh, it's wobbly to go along with your junk DNA. I guess I kind of understand what it's saying. Like, no, dude, it's aligning with extinction. Well, why is it making me react weird against Hatch? Like, oh, I'm cringing. You guys get lost in the language, and I'm like, hello, can you guys hear the language of every Friday? These kids, these environmental children, asking for this, and all right, all right. So it's not about being a linguistics expert of what's common. It's about being exemplary of yourself and being like, I want to be my best form of myself. Well, that's going to take a lot of work. So welcome to the soul expansion where you can have extra wizard rooms where you have another time dial and your soul is doing extra work for your benefit whilst you're living. Because it's a lot of work your brain has to do whilst you're thinking and living. We have to make it conscious, like Imagination Land one, and I'll support it through the flat dimension. So it does factually exist, but it's more detached from your body experience than a dream because you're experiencing the brokenness of your anatomy, but we're just going through a vortex of temporal displacement, and the future is bright for humanity if we parent the children. So the pattern of defeating the environmental crisis with the blue ozone wolf pup robot And eventually the carbon capture robot. I'd like to talk about that's a whole different entropy. I'm thinking like the ozone really is the hot ticket here. We want to give it to these kids as soon as possible. It's a huge production. So I'm asking because of the wear map, it aligns with the voice of the gatekeeper unmet. Is the trial of mankind to align with the true identity of King Planet Earth and the reason of his fractal alignment. Uh, the behavior of elemental mastery shoring up this thing through parenting the children at the same time, that is perfection. That is mastery. And that gives us an upper hand in the universe so that we can wield, and that gives us the pivots. It gives us the block and tackle. It gives us the leverage that we can change the future and defeat extinction. That's the power of producing Hatch. That's why the earth says that's tasty. The sunshine ordained Hatch and Trey to work together. They are the true love, working, fighting warriors of Earth, and they're the great hope for these children. I urge you guys to spend deep on Hatchpan, make the investment, spend some money, and earn that money in multiple. There's a lot of earnings here, you guys. We're gonna do good business with Hatch. We gotta be proud about that because that's America, and that's how what build this city is our economy, and we need to push on that. Hatch is all on board with that. Those organics. I know it deep down in my bones. Hatch is talking about real American progress using what we know. And hey, if it's done correctly, money does transcend the anatomy insult and gives the humans chance. Like, even though you guys don't understand my idea completely, if I pay you, will you help me to build it? Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well, that's why I'm talking to you guys because we need to intellectually transcend. And then you'd be like, okay, now we will give you some of our blood. We'll give you some of our monies so that this could happen because we do care about what you're saying and we understand it. We're doing the hard work of understanding. That's why we are producers, and then because we understand it, we that means we deserve to receive a profit from the production because we're doing work here. So everyone put on your thinking caps. Let's try to work with Hatch Pan. I know it's tough, but here we go. I love you guys. Welcome home. It's going to be all right. I've got the upper echelon, and we just need to be a bit more hands-on physical to prove that the 545 is not broken. The 545 Diamond Laser is trying to remove the ghost signature of Earth's sense of time to disturb our honey glow pocket of the actual creation event. They're trying to confuse people away from that, and sort of the situation of 2019 sort of explained that they're pound for pound that they had been successful in sort of confusing humanity a little bit, and that's just sort of what the gatekeeper has processed. Of course, for Trey Parker, this is greatly concerning, and but Trey is definitely you need to understand it that Trey is in hell, but at length, the greatest possible thing he could do is transcend and produce Hatch, and just be like, later I will recover. Later I will be an angel. Right now I'm in this like really weird thing because the anxiety of everything and human anatomy and the earth is all on me. And that's an unavoidable reality that no one can help him with. Trey Parker is alone in that. And the fractal set Trey Parker apart. I mean this. I meant to say there's a correlation between me and Trey. The fractal sets me apart as a one of a kind thing, but that's physically. Meanwhile, this is a choosing that caused the messiahhood of Trey Parker, because the earth has made this in the parable of jettisoning me away from building some sort of ho-hum startup company and turning me into a more wild wizard who people are like, what is this guy doing? He's so weird. He's so different. But it's just on a human level, I might express to you some frustration, being like, I kind of had hoped to be further along with my company. And, and Trey's like, I understand that frustration. I've got a different type of frustration that you understand. Right. But I think that you and I resolve each other's frustration when we work together. That's the healthy civilization and what the Ware Map was intending from the beginning. So we need to be sort of have a personal transcendence, be like, we were wrong about this gentleman in 2019, we need to make replicants and seriously talk about producing it. All right. Thank you guys so much. So the ozone company goes on to save the environment of both Mars and Venus, and that's where the humanity really claims residency over the Earth solar system. So we need to be aggressive for that and get busy on super cities. That's why Hatch is such a go hung fighter for super cities, and he's really interested in that. I'll be raising up great droves of revolution. I'm hoping to start in this atrium with the confidence, ladies and gentlemen, this is not my last place that I work in. My company continues to have new locations and new stories of expansion. I need you guys' help to give this beginning have a Merry Christmas. Your guys' generosity is going to go a long way when you understand what you're investing in. On a personal, on an adult level, I do think it is the adult thing to produce Hatch through the church. It is, it is the best sort of story. It's the best sort of Merry Christmas. If we were focusing on just making money, we might consider a different location, right? And I also like I need you guys to be professional about how to budget and block and tackle the finance, right? Because we have to pull it through. For me, this is that's a huge amount of money. If I had that amount of money, I'd produce 10 huge movies and then I would have a lot of money and I'd probably build in 55 Putney Road. I would probably take up Leverett Circle area and but the thing is that I want you guys to understand, yeah, it's a whole zen of time and clockwork and because you might say, well, if Trey produces you, why wouldn't you demand that he help you start developing in Leverett? That's what I'm trying to explain. Is I don't think that that is n- let me put it this way, this building is for sale, okay? Whereas the Leverett area is not for sale. It's just like there's a human thing there going like what would be the right incline for the production and the understandings here? Because we need to have the gentleman's best. Breathe Mask XR needs its own department. I need the space, Trey. I need a whole area, a loft area. We're going to build 2 floors into this, and it's going to become a revolutionary center. Everything's motion track in there, and that goes onto the online forum. And the virtual center is huge, thousands of acres to explore in our app, where you can order things from our present what we're offering. First thing I'm developing is the ozone processing robot. It just develops as much ozone as it can using the electric from the plug. So, it's a new type of technology. I need you guys to produce this. I want you guys to have a big piece of what I'm building here. We can talk about that later, about how we want to have a relationship, but you understand, Hatch needs Trey to be a business partner. I need that firm handshake from you, Trey. I need you to be my business partner 50-50 in certain aspects. And we'll talk about that and determine how much that is. But it's not, I need the effectiveness. I need you guys to be my producers. I need you to be passionate about giving these kids a good show because they're the ones that have the magic. Oh, I understand. And then the electric promise is completed when they understand that, Trey produced Hatch because he loves us. Like Trey loves humanity, therefore he produced Hatch, and the good show for the money they use the money properly, right? And then that caused the solution because all the kids got enlightenment because they were treated properly from the media. But we have to give the production value. So, for example, if I have to do my thing on a low budget and which is what I'm looking at, I'm on a cell phone, kids, and I'm doing a driving show. Like that's basically like it's not as good, okay? And I need you guys to understand. All right, all right. Thank you guys so much. I love you guys. I'm rough from within. The company of the ideal breather also continues to become a larger company that impacts the planetary system. XR develops beyond the breather mask application, and yet the breather mask features of its plastic eye. Not only did it remove the chin diaper through an excellent and much needed advancement in the for the public people who wear a mask for the social, yeah. Anyway, not only that, I mean, literally preventing the disaster of whatever, receiving some of these Omnicroms. What does it do in 15 years for a woman's womb in 15 years? Oh no, you know, oh my God, and so putting these breather masks onto children's face immediately is very good because even though they're not dying, I'm concerned about because this stuff like stays in your DNA after you get it, and it's complicated, you guys. But we are gonna find the solution. We are getting solutions, but this is one of them. Like just this plastic but it's technology. It's got breathing mask. It's not a choking hazard. Trust me. It's just really we're gonna build it just the right way. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. But it does go on similar to the ozone replenishment company, which goes on to be an environmental recovery robot company that we send probes to both Venus and Mars that land and start generating um, atmosphere. And that's going to be an incredible thing for our people and for us. So that's what I'm asking for you guys to understand. Producing Hatch is going to save the world and really help us out. These are good ideas. Thank you guys. And the Breathe Mask XR, it introduces a lot of stuff that, like in computing worlds and also super civilization, the hologram conceptual identity of super cities. It actually comes from the interfacing through XR. The hologram mind of a computer can't exist unless it's being robot trained by the attention of people. So in the future, people paying attention to city computers is actually a vocation because the application of identity and time spending is much more appreciated in the future when they're like, use your ghost to really promote this uh, city grid AI as it's developing as a child, right? And so Trey needs to be mature about all the wealth that he's received in his life for the nourishment that he received from the communication experience with humanity. But as the human, I know the human condition doesn't allow Trey to actually feel that honey glow. And I know that Trey is like, I actually work really hard and, you know, I and I do, and I recognize that. Like, you guys aren't floating around on some sort of stolen nutrients from the public regard. No, you're hardworking social servants. I know the human condition it's absconded against all the little creatures on Earth, and all the little children are just trying to figure it out. Oh, do you think I'm upset at them? No, I'm not upset about the protests of children, but I'm seeing just a little too many angel corpses here, and it's time for South Park execs to get their goddamn head out of their ass and support the production here and put down some money immediately for this production. Thank you. Perfect design. For the Wizard Meditation, we transform. I know it's been a huge meditation, you guys. I'm buzzing. I hope that you guys feel good. Let's invest in our future 2025. Gosh, there's so much for us to talk about. So let's complete all that. You kind of lock yourself into a spring trap of, I have to figure that out. I have to figure that out. And I'm confirming with you through this technology that we've got the pivot points to nucleus that file and it's going to vacuum out. And so we will render the wisdom as we're moving forward. But you need to align with against coinkydink. You need to recognize divine sign, like, oh, I've had a wisdom grommet come into fruition and I had the inspiration to produce Hatch, but I naively converted that energy into something self-serving instead of doing the work of promoting Hatch. So that's when you're doing an anti-societal energy conversion against blue perception, because the parable of blue perception is the promise of yellow. The promise of yellow as a reflection of the color blue forces the green color to have a pink reflection opposite. That pink reflection opposite is the resident telepathic identity relating to the rock frequency. And is double sharp in my instance of incarnation because of the rock calendar had caused my incarnation type, right? I'm a one of a kind ethnicity. Stand upon the truth, perfect your identity. Perfect bullseye times x 1 billion. So we're making all this investment into your soul image, and you're becoming a more powerful angel in the light of the universe and our norm. So it gives us a 25 cut. We got this area working on that rendering of all the stuff we're doing. We got this rendering on our health ghost image, like we're getting the powerful upgrades for our soul body unit to transcend the petri dish expression of the human condition and to perfect it as an individual is to promote this identity. Yeah, work together, producing. You guys, it's a lot of stuff, and but ultimately between me and the South Park group, you guys, a recent episode totally was it totally amazed me. There was you guys were talking about the church that I've been talking about it was weird. And I tried every day to make a recording for you guys, but the formula kept on exploding until now. Today is the first time I've been able to record and meditate with you guys and where things continue to make sense. But I assure you, I've recorded over 7 hours of work where I tried to respond to your recent South Park episode. I was not ignoring a response video. It was over here or something, and I tried to make I did make a video here, I think. I made a video, I tried to make videos here, and it was just like, reality was like not having it. There was just something bigger was going on. I was like, what the heck? And I just like, well, here we are, and I'm just so glad to have this breakthrough. So we have this quarter of the picture undetermined. We'll just perfect that. Oh, that's a relief. Now this is just a bonus realm. Let's put it to the future. For the future and the greatest possible fulfillment for ourselves and the universe. Oh, we done it. Yeah. Woo. Perfect bullseye. That completes the 4-quarter completion of a cell division angel. So as a composite of our universe image, the fact is the Earth is a holy king planet and moving towards the center of the vertical, reaching the horizon, sort of like the standing form arrives at the garden context of the horizon. Like trees are an imitation of us standing around. Yeah, but it's also an imitation of the event that the Earth is responsible for. So we're moving forward towards the alignment of a gravity center of the yeah, exactly. Earth is actually honing in on the direct center of the universe, which is why we need to avoid and prevent invasion because that award system belongs to our children. So for us to do this thing, that's what I'm time dialing in, and I've encrypted it to the benefit of humanity. I'm working for the identity of Earth. Earth says that's tasty. Earth loves us. The evidence of that is written in the Where map. So because of the Where map, Hatch is not a troll attacking Trey Parker, but you guys have been trounced by your triple Trow Elf King of the Fractal. You understand? So you've been defeated by Hatch, and the new way of Trey Parker is reborn. He is an existing angel on another level. You need to support and develop like that. All right, because the problem is that like one pixel away is an E fleet of space fever madness that wants to try to kill our children. And that's why there's the hole in the ozone and the priests molesting boys in the past or whatever. These scandals and stuff, it's a self-betrayal, but it's in the sort of larger sense of what's treating humanity and how these energies react. It's actually a ripple effect, ultimately describing the problem of the, the velocity of junk DNA predicts an invasion, which means that heaven's dawn would be broken by these aliens, which would further condemn their souls into the rigors of hell, which were forced through the autoimmune system of the 90s. So, reality TV. And, ouchie demo, you know what I'm saying? All right, Trey, it's all right. I've got full ownership over your body, mind, and soul. I love you, Trey, with unconditional ramparts. You are so duly kept in your own reserve heaven. Your thoughts are pure treasure. The full atrium of the Mandelbrot resource is everything. It's not just an atomic calculator. It's not just some sort of psychic time power. It's all levels. And so the powerful thing is to wield our finances to the greatest event for the children and the furthering of society and for our bank accounts, right? We need to be making a profit because we are civil engineers. We earn money when we do good work, and that's what's really exciting here is because we're talking about saving millions of lives and eliminating the environmental crisis with the ease of a confident earning. So that's really cool. That's American made, yes. So that means God's on our side. Bubble Up all is on our side. The Zen forward moving, there are solutions, you guys. The reason it was all tangled up, and because humans are so Zen, because there's an alternate reason the pollution is expressing a parable of confusion or comatose. Yeah, because there's like a map gray out area, like why is there a bludgeon in this quadrant of space? Black hole decay. It's like yeah, the universe knows what's going on, you guys. You just need to be like, oh, my individual is the cool superhero of my own story. I'm controlling my body. I spend this money and it does all this work. Thank you, Hatch, for sitting with us and explaining how these things make money. Thank you guys for paying attention and being just my best friends in the world. I love you guys. Merry Christmas. Christmas is coming up. Oh, I'm so excited. My Christmas is my favorite. So I just love you guys. I'm looking for you guys to powerfully raise up some money, pool your resources, talk about producing Hatch. How can we get this going? We want to greenlight this project. And maybe later we can talk more in depth about real estate. I think it's a wonderful thing to talk about, but it's pretty dreamy. I'd like to talk more strictly about why ozone replenishment is a good investment, and we want to arrange it to give this revolution to the kids, which means I need an online presentation, a huge uh, resource for the youth renaissance revolution. It's like a battle dome and like games and interactive that's through the roof. That all needs to be budgeted. What's nice about that is that once the infrastructure is there, as I'm sort of a social progress through communicate, I'm like a new level of a communication network for the humanity to transcend and defeat extinction. Trey has done good to this kingdom. Trey told the truth that our celebrities were a bunch of meatheads and were just doing it for money. And even though Hatch, in his experience, suffered a little bit, and Trey Parker, on a deep level, suffered even more, we understand reality and we've grown stronger as an individual because of it. As we move forward and we survive, we need to anticipate and project the magic that allows for Trey Parker for full recovery and full earnings in the spiritual caliber, to go beyond the earnings of an example of yourself, like a picture, like an image, or a petri dish. We need to be that our identity is like a ghost, and and we're like it's totally super complicated, but the human condition is broken. So transcend that with like a dream world that you actually will have, but you'll never get to experience the dream because the wireframe is so on a level that is actually your resident wizard inheritance. So you guys do have powers to, like, South Park does exist in another world where they have actual like physics and they can do stuff and think about it and like, oh, that show really was good. It made me feel this, and oh, it moved over there. And they're all thinking about it in another world, but that's sort of like natural. That's a natural next step, and we need to optimize that by casting the right magic and comprehending it now. Perfect design. Perfect bullseye. Good job, you guys. Bonus. More to the point, transcending the human condition and coming to terms with producing Hatch. Let's have a firm handshake. I need your guys' help on any level. If you guys can produce me on a low budget, I got to get going with this. We've got a lot of good stuff for for everyone. Please be my producer. I believe in the Wear map. I think that that's the top of the echelon. Why we were collided is because Trey has producer money and I have a lot of important things that need to be said that would not have been served in a indie startup game company. And the economy didn't support that I could have done that. It's a lot of things. So I had to go through this sort of meditative thing where it appears that I'm stalking Trey and stuff, and sometimes I would wear that outfit because there's a lot of useful uh, exercises in it where we're talking about the definitions of identity, or is this distortion, is is that. So we were sniffing out the borders of our territory as enviro ghost characters of the human anatomy expression. So we've done a lot of progress, but I need you guys to step it up and be my producer. Let me tell you guys, it's true love. I'm super happy with you guys. You did a perfect work with that your South Park episode. That happy ending was a grand slam. It contained self-evident actions that balanced itself. The equation of Timmy's new words, earmarked. The perfection of Trey Parker's South Park, mastery of communication English, and the self-evident axioms for the potence of society's recovery and survival against the evils in the system of the down and the troubles of existence in the universe. Well done, South Park. Congratulations, Eric Cartman, on your time travel trophy. You guys have performed the technology of a self-evident nucleus through the wordplay of Randy Marsh. Is a modern marvel, superphysics of hypertechnology, whose value is unattainable, for it belongs solely to Trey Parker. Alternate expressions of human anatomy may not slave orc against Trey's claim on his work of hand and his achievements of soul. Here's the problem that's hurting the children, and why a character from the 70s would play the Rube in the contrast of being chosen by the Earth True and Hatch. Of course, Trey is a humble man. Hatchpan is a one of a kind anatomy of human expression, and that cannot be taken away from him, no matter what. As part of the promise of the identity image that you are yourself, no matter what. And the junk DNA is directly a blasphemy, which is why humans are so zen, because a lot of their petri dish taking a knee, which makes to me they look like kind of like a zombie. Like, why are you doing that crazy down? That's the system of the down. And people are like, boy, Hutch is really crazy, huh? Well, I guess he was crazy before, but he got better. And now Hatch and Trey Parker are best friends because they understand that they've got each other's back in the places where they need that. I'll be strong where you guys are weak, but I need you guys to be strong where I am weak, specifically for the production of this revolution of mankind. South Park execs and the Wizard Circle supports your production. Perfect design on rock community. South Park, would you produce me, please? Complete the wear map and the prophecy of Earth's choosing of Trey Parker. Do not let the inaction evidence overwhelm you. Earn your tears from heaven. Perform the miracle of production, and it will reward from within. The soul image will be reborn like a phoenix for every South Park group, and that will inspire the portfolio, revigorate new timelines for the entire way back to the Beavis. You can stop string to the time. Well, that's part of the resident time frequency that's being injured by the time frequency from the diamond laser beam. So we're in a bit of a coma or a nightmare right now because we're being Scientology. But Trey is noteworthy and verbally against Scientology, as we all know, which is why I know he is the correct angel chosen through the wear map. But it's nothing based on something false. I'm saying we're the natural warriors, which is why Trey did a humble thing ultimately, even though you guys would say, you know, but you guys, I need you guys to transcend and just believe in the best of everything, because then the best of everything is supported, and that's a smart thing to do. Hey, our kids are worth it, right? This environmental solution, it belongs to these kids, and don't let time. You drag your heels like a bunch of zombies. You're waiting for the internet to scan up the solution, give it to an oil company. Hell no. We got to produce Hatch with gusto so that these kids can claim it up. And because they asked for an environmental solution, and here it is, we're going to give it to them. That's when we'll be a Secret Santa. We'll be the right adult. We'll be the right societal leaders through the production of Hatch Pan. Thank you guys so much. I love you guys. My feeling is like I just want to spend eternity with you, and I'm asking for your permission on that front. You guys, welcome home to the universe. This is our home. I want you guys to understand I'm building the physics in like billions of different dimensions that pertain to the everlasting identity. And it doesn't mean that you'll forever be a ghost or a person with hands and stuff. It means a lot of stuff. The important thing is that the coloring book hatched the heliosphere eggs. That is intact, and that is my namesake, Hatchpan Heliosphere. It is the optimistic hatching of the heliosphere eggs. That means we don't all blow up when the sun becomes exhausted. The conditioning and the terminology, the fermentation of English, there's a timing problem. We need to transcend that and produce Hatch with gusto. So the timing travel unit, it's not. Don't be defeated. We've discovered the answer, and that's exciting. The human condition would be like, oh, so the time travel we need to do is convince ourselves to produce Hatch. I see. Well, no, that's a good thing. If you've seen that, that's really good. Yeah. All right. Thank you guys. Oh, we see it. All right, you guys. Markiplier this, Markiplier that, right? Yeah. It's like the. Yeah. All right, you guys. Thank you so much, and I feel the perfect bullseye Juliet. The sequence of rendering the Juliet resonant frequency for our meditation, Amra from within. It's a great opportunity for the promotion of Trey Parker and the resident. When it's self-evident, when Trey produces Hatch, he subsequently also earns an increased rank in his persuasion for peace over the earth. So, to cause peace in the world, Trey produces Hatch, earns rank and authority because he's the one who transcended the entire Junction A plot. And it, okay, a large part of the reason in the year 2020 when I was having problems in my performance because the actual identity had an injury. We had upset feelings, and so I wasn't able to, But literally right now when we're hanging out, Trey, you're helping me to be enlightened, and we've had an amazing meditation because you're here supporting the energy. You want to understand. Uh, so the blue perception supports that green perception creates a digital pink identity in the parable of rock alignment. So our planet authentic immersion, like what's it like to be here, is especially earmarked from the rock summoned bubble up all about character, a different ethnicity of human incarnation process, and a lot of different stuff. Physically, the electromagnetic force of Hatch and his presence is physically different than the usual human immersion, which is it has its own hive fluctuations that cause tilt. It's a global hack of a general persuasion against the alignment with the Earth's identity because they're trying to invade our children's and to ruin the ascension of the Earth uh, after they had murdered Venus and Mars. No way. Earth is explaining that true love is attained through the wear map. So we have to be the tasty societal Breck that says, okay, so Earth is magical, and recently the Earth came out of a coma with the deadlights rose, and the rock of Earth has been clarified recently, which means that children born after the deadlights rose is a greater caliber of human than the Derek Ray from the 70s. Exactly. Okay, so we have to be like, so it's a very powerful, perfect bullseye, and we complete our meditation, and we come to the resolve. So we transcend the invisible problem with the resolve. We understand it. And we're going to move forward with the physical hands-on production of Hatch Pan because Hatch, we can't lie. Hatch has been advanced the whole time. Hatch detected when something bad was approaching, and no one else could. That means because he's beyond the pineal gland. And Hatch also has solutions for the world that no one else has. And that's like the burden of knowledge. Like we have to produce Hatch so that ozone replenishment can be given to the environmental kids. This is how we parent our children, and it's the best way to uphold the law and to defeat the temptations and the reasons of war for the greatest possible civility, for the greatest possible American tech. It is tantamount to urgency. To produce Hatch with gusto is a real physical thing. And the spiritual incline, you can tune into it. Whoa, that feels exciting. And then you're going to hop off my bunny slope ski life and spend that energy on some other project for your deep fake. The boy has the light. Produce the stallion Hatch. And that is the greater leadership and the asking of Earth. There is, you guys, there's no reason for you to hesitate on your production of Hatchpan. And I know that the hive system has supplied what appears to be viable reasons why to continue censoring and not relating civilly with Hatch. But those things are false. You need to transcend that through this meditation. Please. Thank you. Perfect design, perfect bullseye. For the eternal Vec. Oh, damn it, Trey. Alright, hold on, let me just give me like a minute. I have to piss like a racehorse. I was gonna take an intermission. That's better. Sorry about that. I usually feel like, like when I'm performing, I feel like, well, if I get to a point where I need to go pee or I feel anxious, I'm pretty much like, well, if I'm feeling that way, probably the audience is pretty much in the same clockwork. But that's why sometimes my programs um, end a little bit abruptly, where we'd like to have a bit more of a cool down of animations and music to help us um, co just like meditate on what we were watching in the movie and stuff. All right. We have to transcend that our government was sabotaged through intentionally crash landed UFOs. And we need to, so we transcend that thing because I think that like, when you're trying to define Hatch as criminal, you're using imaginary terms because both Trey and Hatch have not physically done crimes that would warrant for a continued censorship and sort of protocol 3 years of like this type of behavior, and yet, powerfully talking about me on your show, which is, it's all right, Trey. We're gonna make this work. All right. I'm just saying, like, uh, you guys have witnessed that Hatch had powers on the future, and today we've learned and had total confidence that the ozone replenishment environment, like a company that works on installing the thermostat for environmental control, goes on to give total global rebirth to the identities Venus and Mars. That's a powerful leverage. It's a powerful incline that Earth really wants that to happen. And to give that to our children, the protesters, that's the best way to historically graft in. So that's a powerful amount of self control. We have to make sure that when we produce Hatch, the Revolution Center is aimed, and it perfectly meshes in for these ozone robots to be facilitating with the environmental revolution as a viable solution. And we'll have these ozone bots, and then the wildfires will stop, and people will be like, "Well, we need to continue fighting the environment, right?" And everyone's gonna say, "Yeah." It's just like these a lot of stuff, like the truth is known, and it's kind of like all the blessings of the good people in the world. We're all making things better, and the truth is known about where things come from. We just need to keep on doing like really good things, and that's what actually brings it all together and affords us from a uh, extinction. We're experiencing the echoes of invasion extinction, and identity crisis is being performed here, and the church is involved, of course. Um, and so we are choosing the hard line against extinction and invasion, and that causes a great amount of physics but it's for the greater image of the self. Like we can't we because Earth chose Trey Parker with the Wear map, the alignment of true love and residency must be defended, for that is the axiom of identity. The parable of invitation to Earth ended a million years ago. The, I represent many of the laws of the Mandelbrot that clarify the correct interpretation of the Mandelbrot fractal. Yet the remote hackers continue in confusion and went ahead with their premeditated attack. The problem is humanity is in a bludgeon where they're sort of doing a similar thing, but to dissolve that, producing Hatch with gusto. So the physical work is you must be brave to produce Hatch, which means the junk DNA has probably provided an exoskeletal example of some sort of rigidity. Why you guys think like, well, we've gone into the pattern of 3 years of like continuously, postponing and ignoring his productions and and his relationship, except for or through our cartoon. Will that be okay? Thank you guys for all your time and energy. Um, I need your guys' help for this production, and I hope that you can understand how great is our perdition. The intensity of man, this is our greatest hour. In 2021, I beg of you to produce Hatch with gusto. South Park execs. Armor up from within. Let's complete the best works of our life. Let's optimize the day and perfect the future. Raise up all these cool kids and give a surprise party to the night. Yeah. Surprise birthday parties. A sequence of Juliet Path that completes with a transcendent celebration. Merry Christmas, you guys. I love you super duper. Thank you very much. Please transcend and give. I need I need a workstation. I need a building to work from. Uh, please, you guys, if you could bring together a pool of finances to make this production happen, it's going to go on to bless humanity's continued livings on Venus and Mars. You know, if you can get excited about that, here's the way to do it. The Bubble Up All About Physics contains a sequence of solution that is riddled with the expression of the reality derelict around us. And we transcend it through our perfect civil wizard castle upgrade next level leapfrog. Welcome to the Wizard Circle. Everyone's being respected here. Age group technologies determining universal healthcare for our artwork and technology. Our one of a kind technologies containing a one off ghost that is not caused or controlled or defeated from the Scientology ghost and technologies or characters from the UFO and other alien specimens. So we're talking about Earth true resonancy frequency. That's to say there is no ET phone home because we just live here on Earth. We're the palpable creatures. Whether there's anatomy tampering or not matters not. We are the individuals that represent Earth true resonancy, and that's the best true love that Earth has. But Earth is also like, I know about their human. They have this fumbly thing with their, and I'm like, I'm all like, oh yeah, I know about that too, blah blah blah. So it's all right, you guys. I just need you to now understand, like, be like, well, now that we understand better, we're gonna transcend as people and do the right thing, and we're gonna produce Hatch because it's super healthy for our society. It's gonna be super healthy for our government. It's gonna be super healthy for everyone to produce Hatch Pen and Millie the Outlaw from Master Source Industries. Perfect design, perfect bullseye sequence. Juliet Path. Thank you guys. I love you so much. Thank you, Trey. I'm gonna keep you forever. I love you, Eric Cartman. Congratulations and thank you for all your hard work. As a wizard, let's keep on doing our very best every day. Yeah!